Hello, this is Gambit against GRX. Um, this is a draft. I think this game was really interesting. This definitely was the game that I didn't know what to expect of. I think GRX is a really good team, but also that's Gambit. Um, Gambit is a really good team also, and a lot of people thought that Gambit was going to be better than GRX. I personally didn't feel like that was the case at all. I think it's much more closer than people think it is. And we saw that GRX won, but definitely coming to the next day that these two teams are going to play, I can see Gambit winning. So these two teams are really, really even, I feel like. And yeah, we'll see what happens here. This draft, things that I like and I don't. Kalista is really good. I think first Sitch. Sitch traditionally has played that champion a lot in solo queue. And Skarner is also a really good champion into decks. I think if you play Skarner against Gragas, that's a really good matchup for you. You have the early game advantage. And Sindra is a really good counter into the Mouse of Heart. In the other hand, Gambit has a really good front to back composition. In the very late game, they have double tanks, Mouse of Heart, Tristana. That's a really good team fight composition in the late game. They have to get there. They can play front to back really well, things like this. The only thing I don't like about Gambit's composition is the Thresh pair with the Tristana. As a duo, I much rather see Thresh paired with Ashe, Varus, or even Jhin. Those utility AD carries that can be really lane dominant, I like Thresh with those champions more than Tristana. I don't think that's the thing that you have to aim for, really. Okay, let's start the game. Both junglers will start on blue. Nothing really happens level 1. And so there's not red into golems from any of these junglers or even red into raptors. So this is just going to be blue start. Um, Callistus isn't that good into this lane early because they have the double range advantage against the Alistar and they also leash. So what you're going to see... Oh, first let's talk about this. PK is zoning PvP set who's from the way because he didn't leash and he's in the lane. So those are the things that you want to do. Make the lane volatile, you're the workout, you want to have the lane um, be played out as you want. So really good trade. Then bottom, you both say you're gonna see loading and Edward push at the early game. Once Alistar reaches the level 3-4 mark, then they can push or start pushing. Here you're just gonna see Syndra Dumpster on the Mazahar. It's a really rough matchup. You have the corrupting bug even for your autos, your airy, like it's really rough for the Mazahar. He doesn't have any pots left. Candy still has one charge of his, so corrupting. So yeah, it's gonna be really rough. Skarner and Gragas did all of their blue uh, jungle camps and crap, and now they're gonna go to the red side and do red jungle and do all of their camps there. Um, the small CS lead for Tristana. That's because Kalista has the CS the way that he has coming in the front, so it's probably more even. But what you're gonna see is then, oh my god, this is so nasty. Like Sindh is so good into Mouse of Fire. He's gonna lose every CS there, and now he's gonna get cancelled too. So that really sucks for him. Um, he has to get that Dark Seal or something so that he can get more um, pots basically, or more value out of his pots. He goes for Mana Crystal, which can be okay, but I'd rather see the Dark Seal. Um, Now we see Kalista um, pushing up the bounce. Basically, what happened is Edward took the opportunity to recall because he had the push. He got an early boots, which is really good in trash. Early boots are always good at support. Um, and what happens is when you push a wave into the enemy turret, it's gonna bounce. So what we are seeing here is since the wave was closer to the red side team, um, when the next minion wave comes, it will add to the wave that was already there, and it will stack. So basically, you see four casters, five casters, eight casters. Sorry, maths are really difficult for me. Just kidding. We have more than one wave here stacked, because it's stacked here on the enemy turret, on the GRX turret, and now that will push because there are more minions. And you know what happens afterwards. Either have boots. Now they're looking for a gank. He missed the hook, so the gank ends right there. Malzahar was also hovering. But what he did was really good. He had a push. He knew that the wave is going to stack towards Lodik. So Lodik didn't really lose CS from that Edward recall. And he got boots for free, basically. And he almost got the gank also. So, and the reason why they had the gank opportunity there and why that was so good, they had good timing for that, it was because they knew the wave is going to push. So this team has no choice other than pushing. So if they do not push this wave, this is gonna get frozen. Even though it's Tristana, she doesn't freeze that well because of her E, the way it works. Still denies some minions, you know. So they are trying to push and make sure that the wave doesn't get frozen, and then they are getting ganked by Gragas. Gragas was recalling, he canceled his base. Malzahar was hovering. If anything happened, you know, TPs, things like this, Malzahar would just walk from the river to bot, but he went back into the lane because nothing happened. The gank was cut off. But yeah, all of those interactions were really good from Gambit's bot lane. They put themselves in a really good spot from the early lead that they had on the lane, from the enemy team leashing and the matchup and things like this. From now on, I think Kalista would just dominate the lane. So that was the chance for Gambit to get anything, if anything at all. Now they can look for swaps. I'll be really interesting if they had a swap opportunity, because bot lane is an infernal, which you don't really want to give. But if you're already losing mid and bottom, you're losing the infernal anyway, right? Right? Spoiler alert: it doesn't happen. Gambit gets the infernal actually from staying bot. Um, Now we're seeing Calista recalled. Um, we see Malzahar coming back to the lane. Malzahar is losing a lot of CS because of Syndra. I think the matchup is just gross. I think Syndra is really good champion into Malzahar because of the range advantage. And also she can pick up the Voidlings. She has so much going for her into that matchup that I like a lot. Um, Here, Gragas is looking for a gank. As you can see, Skarner is also there, bottom. He's matching. When you are the when you're on the winning side of a matchup while jungling, you definitely want to match because you want to be on the face of the enemy jungler that you're beating. You want to be able to steal camps. You want to be able to enable your laners and play aggressive, right? If you're in the losing side of the jungle matchup, you want to dodge the enemy jungler. You want to split the map, go to the other side, get something for you while he's getting something for himself in the other side. You know, you want to trade rather than match. Um, Gareth is just there hovering. He cannot get much on because Kalista shares a really safe lane at level 6 from Kalista. And yeah, now Skarner is on the side. Syndra and Skarner are entering deeper into the enemy jungler. They're gonna place a pink close to the Raptor camp, and now Syndra's gonna walk bait again. And look, Gragas was looking for Syndra there, but Syndra was playing really careful considering Skarner was also there. Gragas saw Skarner for a second there, but he didn't respect that, and he gets caught in the ice. It's really tough because you really want to make your Raptors, you know, your camps, the classic Flash Knight, as you can see there. Um, it really sucks. You have to enter with someone else, if anything. You cannot enter inside because this has become your weak side from the control that your lanes are getting on this side. Really deep dive, but since this color is Alistar, you're really safe to do the 6. So yeah, Now Kira loses another wave myth that crashed into the turret. That really sucks. Well, it's fine. Malzahar always does Malzahar things. Even if you don't have that much experience or CS, as long as you have your R, you're good to go in team fights. Or later in the game. You can make picks and things with this. Nice flashing knight. Now every lane for GRX is silently winning, so now that every lane is winning, it's really tough for Gambit to do anything at all in the early game. Here we are seeing Alistar Kalista recalling, also Skarner recalling. Gambit is just gonna do Inferno. They're gonna punish this. Gambit is one of the smartest teams to do these things. I think they're really smart about the way they think or approach this situation. They know that they have tempo on the map, and tempo is basically whoever is on the map first gets to do something with that. That's tempo. Whoever has the time to do things, that's tempo. You see four members. Oh my god. um, have to look for that. I think it's around here. Um, yeah, it's here. So you see four members already on the map for Gambit, while you have two, three members from GRX coming from base and Syndra recalling. So it's really hard for GRX to contest this, if anything. So Gambit's gonna get a free Inferno, which has you take those. Um, and matching lanes was pretty good, but that should never happen. GRX should always, with their control, they should always aim for those objectives, you know. And if if that happened, Gambit had to swap probably to the top side, like their bot lane, because Wicked isn't something that you can kill really fast, but you can try. But that's at least you're training Herald for the Infernal, at least you're training turrets, things like this. You have your Sana, which isn't bad in swaps. Uh, and you're dodging the bad matchups, you know. Now moving forward here, like he had a chance to flash preemptively, but he didn't. It's really tough, you know. You don't want to flash. As Masohar, flash is one of the most important cooldowns, and you really think twice if whether or not you want to flash or not, because Masohar flash is probably the most important cooldown in this game, basically. Skarner show a little bit there. You can see the power of suppressed champions with vision control. If you have vision control as a suppressed champion, like Skarner, like Malzahar, it's really oppressive in the way you have to retake the vision, basically. You really have to be careful because you can just get one shot during the suppress. Mm, here, uh, mm, okay, now you're seeing Koala and MT retaking the vision. And we are gonna see Grass start the Herald. This is another thing that I like a lot about Gambit. They start Herald, and that forces Koala and MT to go to the Herald to stop that. And that relieves pressure from their bot lane. So Edward and Lodi can now push bottom to be one more freely. Stitch will walk 1v2 for a little bit there. I don't like that personally. That could be really risky. Some other champions would just flash at you and try to like look for the 2v1 because he's a 2v1, you know, you'll look for the one shot. But then he goes back in when Koala is close, so that's fine. As long as he doesn't do something like that later. Um, or in another game. Now we're gonna see the form on bottom, I think. Here's where Skarner and Syndra push bit. Like, Skarner was hovering the Syndra so that she can push. Now they're hovering bottom a bit. They're gonna go back for the mid wave. Here you keep going because this movie it's something I really like. When Syndra and Skarner cover for a little bit, allow their bowling to push, and then they went back, right? So since they hover at bottom, they allow Massacre to push one wave, and that made so that Massacre overextended by pushing. And why is that? Because Urgot is also moving, rotating from top to mid. So basically, By rotating bottom, you make Malzahar push mid, and if you know Malzahar has to push mid 100% because you're rotating bottom for free, if not, if he doesn't push, uh, your top laner can always collapse. And here, they already got the Malzahar flash, which is the most important cooldown on this game. And here, they chunk the Ornn, they can now start Hero, which I think was really well thought of and done. Now we see Stitch and Koala middle because they shift from bottom to mid because they want to ensure that the team gets it Herald. As Gambit also did the same thing with Edward and Lodi that walked from bottom to mid. So here they face the Alistar. Alistar gets a 3-man knockup, and they get a really good fight on this side. Uh, yeah, nothing else to say. If you're doing Herald, you can just have one or two people doing it, and the other people trapping or setting up vision, things like this. They will also get top turret from the hover from Alistar and Skarner, plus the death on Edward. So pretty good for GRX. Now we're gonna see a really good play from Gambit. Gambit now once again, like the Infernal, here they have tempo. Tempo is how many members they have on the map already, how much time they have until the enemy team can come. Right, the enemy team has 3 members just coming from base or doing camps, so they're not on the map yet and not on the side that matters. So Gambit is ignoring top side and at least the Ornn, he Stechos is ignoring top side, and Massacre is shifting from mid to bottom. He pushed mid first, and he's rotating, so they are 5v2 bottom, and they are forcing. And Stitch gets a really good flash to dodge the Ornn ultimate, as her denies that from Diamond Proc. So what happened was they made enough time for the PKTP to come through, for MT, for Candy to come. So they made enough time so that this play was turned around. But Gambit, props to them. Like that was a really good play because they were on a 5v2 situation where they were the ones that were behind in this game. If that play had worked, they would just be right back into the game. And so really, really important to know that. I think that was a really good play. It's just matter of execution, looking to one shot people, and it's really tough to one shot someone from the bot lane because they have Kalista, Alistar, which are really hard champions or slippery champions to kill. Plus, Alistar has the ultimate. They will always make a lot of time for their team to come. They dive mid. Stitch 1v2 again, but this time he dies. He took the really, really route to rotate to mid when he was alone with no summoners. So, okay, I guess. Yeah, Stitch is. Yeah, he's on a mission. I think here is when Gambit will do the Drake eventually. They'll I think they did this Clouder too as well with the numbers advantage and tempo. Here they're seeing Syndra top. We are seeing Skarner cover the Syndra. This is to allow Syndra to be safe, to ensure that she's like not in threat of anyone on the side looking for to trap her. Now she saw 4-man bottom from Gambit, so she feels really safe to push top. And the 4-man bottom from middle from Gambit is going to go to the Drake because they know Syndra stopped. She can never come. So really good stuff from Gambit. There will be group as 5 on the pit. Well, not on the pit necessarily, but on bottom. They'll have 5 people group, and there will be in a 5v4 situation again when they're losing. Seems that Candy's just coming, and Candy's just there, but his teammates already died, and Gambit got Drake in 1 kill for free, basically. From, well, not for free, but from Syndra being top in this lane allocation. Syndra had to either wait to show top and wait for GRX to push Gambit outside of the Dragon Pit, or she had to push but had Scarlet and everyone else being more on the bot side, and she will have she will be in danger if Gambit was topside there, but that's something that you have to do if you really want to secure the Drake, basically. Instead of having Skarner hallway for Syndra so that she can push, she had to have Skarner bottom so that Skarner can be at the Drake, contest it better, or make enough time for Syndra to come from top. Okay, Gambit so far had gotten the Baron, the Drake, Inferno, under tempo. They also got the second Drake as well with the numbers advantage, and they also got a really good fight with the numbers advantage. Here I want to show something. Yeah, Elder is fish chicken there, but look at how reserved she was playing. This is something that, like, she's using spells to face check. She waited for his corner before entering. She was just like doing small steps there. That's really disciplined play. She's playing really slow here, really careful, waiting for Skarner. Now she's entering, face checking with spells, even if Skarner is there, because she doesn't know if someone could be trapping. And as you can see here, Mazahar was in the bush while they were changing the lanes. Tristana was here, one was middle. So they could have the Tristana, you could have the flash Mazahar ult with Tristana. He doesn't have flash, but you know what I'm saying? They were looking for a trap, basically. And and Syndra play around that really, really well. Um, so she's just going to die there. I think there's not much he could do there. And now we're gonna see Order take bot turret, and here starts something that Gambit did to try to come back into the game. And we see that Orn chase PK all the way on the long lane. PK really wanted to take the turret, and this is something that people have that mentality sometimes. People think that you don't send many people bottom because the enemy team will do Baron every time, but not all the time they already start Baron. So what I'm trying to say here with that is that sure, GRX is gonna start Baron, but Baron has a lot of health. So look, they just started Baron. So they have double TP. They can just TP, get there, and stop the Baron and get a free kill and stabilize the game. Here even they get a 5v4 team fight Gambit. So basically what I'm trying to say is that not all the time you are not all the time is like 100 to 0 to do Baron when they send someone bottom. Sometimes you just can't start Baron even if they send two people bottom because they just double TP to the Baron and then it's a 5v4 if they already kill the person bottom. So here PK is gonna TP and it's gonna save the Baron. He will die, but he'll save the Baron. So that's a good thing for GRX, but they already gave Gambit so many things, you know. They made so that Gambit got some kills back. So in the end, it doesn't really matter because they got a lot of gold from the early game. They got a lot of lead from the early game. He's gonna die, but he's gonna save the Baron, so that's really important. Now we are going to see. Okay, we see Malzahar or Kira walking bottom. He's going for the wave because he's the one that has TP from Gambit. That's really smart from them. You should look to do that every time. If you have TP on your mid laner, go ahead, go bottom instead of your top laner. That's fine. Now he will just stay there for a bit. He was trying to recall, and he wasn't. Then what is going to happen is both teams will go mid with all 5. So 10 people are going to be middle, and they'll look to contest on every wave for the vision. So basically, the mid wave is really important because if you get to push the mid wave first, then you can go into the river and then try to contest the vision. But it has to be after the mid wave is pushed. So every time mid wave arrives, both teams will contest it. As you can see there, Alistair was channeling the Hex Flash while Callisto was pushing the mid wave because he wants to go in on that mid wave so that the enemy team doesn't get to enter the Baron area. Now, GRX was hovering both side because they were helping PK rotate to middle because sometimes what would happen is that teams would hunt the enemy top laner on his transition from bottom to middle. So good. That was very nice protection from this corner. And now we're gonna see the mid wave where that fight happens. Both waves are coming to mid, and here is the chance for the teams to fight and contest the wave before they get vision. This is how important it is for teams the mid wave. Or could have altered this corner and we got there and forced the front to back team fight since both of GRX, Candy, and Sich were split on that fight because of the Orn ultimate. But the Gambit didn't really do that. They aimed for the carries after on the second Orn ultimate. So here you can see how this ulti already split these two from these two. So he can ult here on the easy targets and they can play front to back on these two. So they can just play front to back with the Tristana and Masahar on these two, and these two guys can never reach here because they have the Orn and Gragas summoning them out. So that could have been a better team fight from Gambit, but that really didn't happen. They ended up losing. And then we're gonna look at something really important here, G-Rex. Look at where Alistair is. This is a really traditional play from Alistair. You wanna be flanking the Baron. So this is not flanking yet, but basically what you do is you start Baron, they will come in, and then you flank them, right? They will be here, you'll be here. But what happens is that Gambit is a really experienced team. So this won't work against them. They just use Blue Trinket there, and they probably already knew the Alistair was hiding somewhere, looking for a flank. So, and GRX trying to turn here. I like this a lot. People will say, "Why would you ever try to look for a steal against Callista?" Well, if you silence or CC the Callista, then it is a 50-50, and it is your chance to come back into the game. And what happened is Kira and Diamondbox will go in here. Kira looked for the silence of Callista, but he didn't. He missed his target, and then you cannot steal the barrel, right? But I can see a world where Kira does get the silence, and then that's a 50-50. That can happen, right? That's why they were trying. It's not that they just randomly suicided. So props to them. They look for the best on the worst situation. That's just fine. I think GRX is just much better at early game and playing. And in the mid game, they definitely have their problems, but they had so much lead from the early game that it doesn't really matter. That's why GRX got to this point into the game. They were just so far ahead. Um, Here we are gonna see what you saw. It was a 4-1 that started with 4 mid and 1 bot. Having your Wiggly the silent was really good, but they are gonna transition to top. They already had the wave prep, so the wave was already pushing. Now they have a big wave with Baron top with 4 members. That's really good. When your 4-man squad rotates to the lane that has a lot of minions, um, and then you also have Baron, it's really good. Sure, the big wave got clear, but in order to be clear, they had to send everyone from the team. So that's how PK got a lot of damage for free mid because he was 1v0 basically. He was alone mid. And now it's a game of waiting. Once Gambit rotated mid, they pushed up straight up for 1. Um, Now they're gonna all go mid so that they can secure the second turret and then they can go back perhaps, or yeah, they already get all the turrets, you know. So now they got all of the inner turrets, so they're good to go. Here, this is another Ornn ultimate bit. They're looking for a fight before the enemy team goes back. So here, I think here is not a fight that you're looking for. The difference from this fight to the one that was on the bit earlier in the middle before Baron. Um, and that one you had the chance to split Candy and Stitch from the rest of the team, and in this fight you can't really split the carries from the tanks on the team or the frontliners, so it's much tougher for you to to execute on this fight or to win this fight, basically. Um, okay, GRX is gonna reset, and now we see. Okay, they're gonna trap bot, and eventually here, and then they're just gonna, yeah, here they were trapping bot a bit. They go red. They're just playing for camps. They're just waiting for Baron, honestly. You're so much far ahead. You always win fights, basically. Here, PK is rotating from bottom to middle, and the reason why is because you want to ensure that you have vision topside, where you can push all the way to the ink on bottom. So you can definitely push the side and force Orange to come. If he doesn't come, you take a free inhib. And the reason why he's grouping is he's being aware that Orn is middle. So you don't want to get engaged 5v4 middle when you're pushing bot with your ultimate. That's really risky. And so in order for that to succeed, the split push strategy, you have to first group yourself as the Urgot. Get vision for your team stays on the vision. Once Gambit tries to retake the vision 5v4, then you are already in a situation where you are hard pushing bottom for the E hit and you cannot get engaged without you seeing them because you already have vision. So if they clear all the vision while you were bottom already, well then that's a different situation. But at least you're seeing them clear your wards. And since you're getting wards, you have the right or you have the chance to leave the wards in a way that are much more difficult to sweep. You can leave sneaky wards that can spot their Baron. Since you're not aiming to the Baron on your own or Baron hasn't spawned yet, you can just hard commit to the side and bottom and you can just have the sneaky wards do the work for you. And that way you don't get engaged by the Orn and you also push the side in. And to be completely honest, I think that's much more hard. You can just have the 5-man mid yourself and just contest the midway, look for a fight. If you win the fight, you get the Baron and then you win. If not, just force the Baron 5v5 and then you turn on the Baron, you just look for a team fight. And that's it. I think here they're doing pretty much that. They're starting Baron. They don't have that much vision. They just have the one being close to the Urgot and the one at Baron. Urgot gets jumped on because he's the one split, but that doesn't really matter. Urgot buys so much time, he's so tanky, and now you just turn on the Gambit lineup and you just kill all of them. That's pretty much what happens. You're so far ahead. And that was Gambit against GRX. The game is gonna end here. Um, I think GRX has to think more about the enemy tempo, like the Drakes, the Gambit did, like the dive bottom, things like this. And when the Tristana went bot to kill the Orgut and then force the Baron from Gambit, things like this. And Gambit just has to have better early game. I think against this team basically because this team is really good in the early game. We already saw that. So Gambit has to have something going for them in the early game so that they can match that. And we saw that Gambit already fought against them very well. It's just that GRX was so much far ahead from the early game. And for GRX, then again, they just have to be more careful with the enemy tempo and what they can do on their tempo. And that was Gambit against GRX.